All right, great. So yeah, what you really should be focused on for this weekend is getting your Magic Sculpt skeleton applied so that you have your non-moving parts for your character. Make sure you have plenty of room gap. Try and keep your shoulders separate from the rib cage. Make sure you have a neck. If you have a neck, make sure you have elbows, wrists, hips, knees, and ankles. If you want to have a bend at the foot, for the ball of the foot to the ankle like that, for the heel toe bend, and you've done 3D animation, you know how hard it is to do the heel toe walk cycle. That's kind of fun to do. Make sure you have your tie downs for your ankles done. So we'll try and catch you guys at the end before you guys take off. Anyone that's catching up, we'll try and make sure you get your feet in. You can do test poses on the cage. We have the big platforms and we have little mini platforms. And you're welcome, if you have scrap wood to bring to the shop, you can make your own little platforms. If you want to do your own little custom diorama thing for your character, go for it. Just start designing it, start making it. You should have your fingers done. And again, try not to do toes if you don't need to. Just do boots or shoes of some sort. But if you need to, go ahead. Let's see, I was in a little flow here. Okay, so if you get that done, then over the weekend, the next set of videos has using the different foams. So I just posted these this morning. I just spent this morning making this character. I'm gonna make him a platypus character, and this kind of should round off a couple different things for everybody. So when you guys first did your characters, I was like, just make whatever. Like, I have very few parameters other than maybe the size, and we came out with a whole variety of like more realistic, like action figure with anatomy, to like big plushy super fat ones and round ones and ones with no neck at all and things like that. So for this one, this should catch you up. If you're working on your simpler one, still finish it, but then if you finish that and get through the second one, this is going to give you some other options. And maybe your simpler one might use some of these thicker types of foams as well. So for this one, I'm going to use just this regular padding foam. So if you have a slice of this laying around, this is pretty cheap to get. You can get a big sheet of this and really be able to bulk up your character. And the main thing is, at this stage for your puppet, you have something to grab onto for the chest, you have something to grab onto for the head and for the pelvis, and the feet and the ankles are strong. So test your character out if you can. Another thing this weekend, if you did the smaller ones, make sure you get the right size screw. First, you might take it down to the Ace Hardware store, go to the screw aisle and get the right screw with the wing nut, right? So the wing nut is what you use to tighten underneath. And I think a lot of us did it the backwards. You do the head of the screw down and the wing nut's facing down, so you guys kind of see how that works, right? So you don't want to see the head of the screw. The whole idea is that they're hidden and you don't see them. So strong torso, strong pelvis. So this stuff works pretty good. So the videos are pretty clear. This guy's actually going to come out. I'm really happy. Sometimes you do something really quick and it turns out better than something you spend hours and hours on. So this guy just came out really fast. You want to add a mouth, Ken? Just go for it. You should understand enough by now how to just grab. If you need more armature wire, you can grab a little coil of armature wire, take some home with you, whatever. Cutting the foam in half, adhering it. I think it's easy to make the mistake. Be careful when you're doing that you just want to cut a little channel, enough for the wire. You don't want to cut a big giant gap in there and adhere it together. So new adhesives, we have Barges All Purpose. This stuff is awesome. It's a little gnarly. Work with it outside in a ventilated space. It's not as bad as the steel stick, but it's clear and it's real easy to not see it after it gets on stuff. So just be really careful when you guys are working with this stuff. That's why I prefer, I know it's a little chilly, but I prefer we work outside on the butcher paper tonight if possible while we're using this stuff. So I'm gonna use this to build this up. So I have tons of chopsticks to apply. We're just gonna take the barges and just kind of wipe it on whatever surfaces we want. We're gonna cut. Instead of using the Magic Sculpt, maybe you want to use foam. Maybe you want it to have a little bit of bend or you want more volume. You have the option for how you want to do that. So the last step would be the messy step, which is actually wrapping it with the upholstery foam, which everybody should have some of this as well, right? So I have the more, oh, there's my arm, looking for that. And the cosplay, the expensive, the EVA foam. This is the self foam that you actually heat up with the heat gun and it actually seals it. And this is what you see a lot of the costumes down at Comic-Con are made with the full EVA foam. So you have upholstery foam, EVA foam, flooring foam, and you have the athletic wrap foam, which I have spools of it laying everywhere, but not right in front of me. Open up another one. See, open one of these laying around. bunch of them.
Might be on the back table.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just use this one. It's okay. So 4 types of foam. These big main ones, if you use the spray adhesive, you can cut 2 halves, right? And then spray adhesive them together. And it's not super duper strong. It can come, if you pull enough, it'll come free. So that one's kind of the easy to use one. And you put it on each side like that. And for this one, you don't have to cut the channel for the wire because it's so soft, right? You could just kind of put it right on there like that. And then afterwards you get your scissors and you trim it to the size you want. You then take the liquid latex. You have a big jar of balloon, it says balloon latex. It's about yay big. There it is, thank you. Appreciate it. So this is the balloon latex. This one is more liquidy than the one I gave you. The one I gave you is the professional mask latex. Tried to have everything all set up. It's like so much stuff, right? You see the other one is the mask. It's the one you guys have the samples of, but this one is going to soak into the bandage easier. It's going to get into the cells. The main thing when you apply this is it has to be 100% dry. You have to be patient, take an air dryer and like dry it and hold it on both sides. It's just it has a little ammonia smell. It's nothing nasty about it. It just kind of doesn't, it smells like wet rubber. So it's kind of not the most pleasant smell. But this stuff's kind of, this last step to build up with the foam, that's what's going to allow it to have like a natural skin texture. It's going to let it bend really nicely. It's going to keep it super lightweight. And this puppet is crazy lightweight. Like this is a big puppet. This puppet's way heavier. So when I take this off, you guys can feel the difference. Like this puppet's going to be probably half the weight of this little guy, because I went with the magic sculpt for this for the more realistic, because if I want to have the muscles and bones to look more anatomically correct and have the little toes on there. So this one I've kind of, I'm going to build up. I'm going to continue with the stronger flooring foam. I'm going to build up and give him a little bit of a butt. I'm going to give him a tail. And then I also brought some screens in. I mentioned this to a few of you, so anyone else, I don't remember everyone's character right off the top of my head. I'll remember as soon as I see them though. If you have ears, long floppy ears, bunny, fox ears, anyone else have long floppy ears that they want to animate? Raise your hand and remind me.
It's just a little hair strand that goes up there.
Little strands of hair? Okay, for that you might want to use wire. If you have something wider and flatter, what about like a wing or like a longer flat tail? No, nobody has. You guys have all done pretty good with your simple puppets. What was yours again?
Penguin.
Let's see, what is it? Oh, penguin tail. Yes. So yours, you could either do the wire, so a combo wire, and cut this nice mesh with it and adhere it, and then it has like a flat surface, so you can have it be nice and flat. But this is really good for like the big ears. So if you want to do like big ears for that one, so you can take a piece of this. And this stuff's really cool. It's actually called form wire. You can look at this up at the hardware or at the Blick store, at the art store, and you can actually sculpt with this stuff. It's really a neat mesh. So we'll cut some pieces of that if anyone needs it. Yeah, so I guess I'll just go ahead and get started. So maybe pause for a second. So again, this is gooey, and it's not bad to work with. Like I don't even bother wearing gloves. You should, but just be aware, it's really clear and it's really easy to lose track of where the stuff is. Oh, thank you. And it gets real, oh, this one's not even open yet. Interesting, let's see if this one's open. Thank you. It gets stringy and it's windy, so just kind of be careful with this stuff. But I'd rather, don't get it on the mats. It is a 2-part, yeah, none of them are open yet. Okay, cool. I've been doing it at home, not here. So it's got a little puncture thing at the top. There we go, it's ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to cut like a little buns here. Now, if I did, before I do that, I'm going to use the thicker stuff that's going to be non-moving. I was also thinking if I was to make this a female character, if you want to do breasts on there, if you want to run wires, if you want them, anything you want to animate at this point, feel free, grab a wire of whatever thickness you think. I have tons of the floral wire, as well as a big spool of the really thick, dark, it's a thinner gauge wire, but I have tons of the floral wire. And floral wire you can sew with as well, so you can actually do sewing techniques with the floral wire. But I'm going to adhere the sticker wire. This is the one, I think this was the 3/32. Let's see, are we recording again? We are, cool. So rather than have it come off here, I'm going to give them a bit of a butt, and I'm going to attach this on there after the fact. And then if you really want it to stick, I would say some extra maybe JB weld on there, and you maybe put on top of that, you could put some steel sticks or be comfortable with all those adhesives. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them back over. And if I had a pen, I'm just gonna wing this though, so I don't wanna take too much time with this. I'm gonna just kind of say, okay, you've got little buns going right here from here to here. What can help with this step in the process too is bevels. So I kind of started cutting some edges off on there. So now if it's gonna be coming closer to the top where it's gonna become part of the shape, it helps to cut at a bevel. So I'm going to kind of cut, and I didn't bring my blade sharpener. I have a little blade sharpener at home, but you want to try to avoid having it rip too much. So go from here to here, then I start on this side, do a little 45-degree cut, kind of cutting through. And then if I want it to hang down or not, I can kind of gauge if I want to do that. I'm going to go bevel this way as well. And you can kind of see how this will turn out. And if you can get a nice clean cut, awesome. There it goes. I love this stuff. That's great. I do armor with this. So if you want to do like a full-on monster suit, battle suit, whatever, something that's really heavy duty, this stuff is great, and it's really lightweight. So there you go. So you got a little bevel on 3 of the sides at least. So go like that. And I could keep going. You could build it up in layers if you want. So I'm going to just take this now. This rough side versus rough side isn't optimal. So when I put the side together, I had soft side to soft side, so they have a really good contact. So because this has that little diamond plate, kind of jungle gym type of texture to it, what I can do is I could take my Dremel. See, I have my wireless Dremel. I just had it in my hand. You remember I set it down? So it'd be funny if that's right in front of me. Use it? Like, yeah. All right, here we go. So it's going to be a little dusty, little particles, but if you can, this is there's Kostumi Cosplay and Evil Ted. They're 2 big foam fabricators. They're some of the best like foam costume designers on the internet. You can see how they use these tools to actually carve, shape, and sculpt their costumes for full body suits. But for stop motion, this is gonna work really well. So I'm just kind of grinding this down. And if it's a little uneven, it's good, but you don't want like big grooves in areas where it's not gonna contact with the other half. So I'm kind of getting rid of these big bumps. There we go. Around. These little stands are great. If you have some extra wood at home, if you have like a shelf board or something, like an old IKEA furniture, bring them in and we'll make more of these stands. You can make your own little diorama. And I am absorbing your spreadsheet. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to once we get the midterm going, I'll have all your final project proposal stuff ready for you guys to look at soon. So hang in there. I'm working on it. There we go. Yeah, and this stuff's made to grind bronze, so this is not my preferred bit. I got to bring in an extra set of gentler bits for this stuff. So it's a little shaggy. It'll have like, almost like little hair. Okay, then just kind of get those out of the way. Okay, and then for the butt, see, did my butt blow away? I'm hiding stuff from myself. Where's the little piece? There it is. Oh, thank you. So on this side, this is not too bad. I don't think I have to smooth this down too much, but I could even, if I thought that wasn't gonna give it a good contact, I could maybe grind that down a little bit. And that's because this stuff's so cheap. This is some of the better stuff. So any of you, for your first puppet, you can go back to that now. That's what this is designed for those of you who really did a big, thick puppet. There's like 8 of you, or 9, I think I counted, that did like really thick. Yours was big, bulky. You want to really, they had to be light. So this is perfect. So I have plenty of this. So if you want to go back and do that second puppet too, use this stuff. And you just need enough steel stick to keep the wire together. So you don't need it. You don't want to put a big giant glob of steel stick or magic sculpt. Okay, so this is ready to rock and roll. Make sure the dust is off there. And whichever way I want the bevel, I'm gonna do the bevel on the bottom for the booty. All right, and then the 2 sides. I'm gonna take this, and you could even, you can watch the strings gonna go flying and get all over the place. So I'm gonna be really careful here. And woo, well, it dries fast. It's a 2-side contact cement. So I'm just gonna take my chopstick here and just gonna spread it around. Get the big bulk of it and put it on here, and where the see the strings going all over the place. You don't want to get that, right? You don't want to get that on anything precious. So that's why in my message today I'm saying, don't wear anything to class today that you hold dear to your heart because you don't want to get this stuff on it. This and the latex. I'm pretty careful, even though I move fast at home, and I'll get a gob, you know, the JB Weld and stuff like that. It'll get on there. But once it dries fast, and that's why I love this stuff. It's the barges, right? This is like professional shoemaker. And if you look at any of the Stan Winston videos and you know, professional movie and stop motion studios, this is the stuff that they use. So I got enough for everybody, I think. We'll see. So if you want to get a tube for home and keep working on extra stuff. Some of you had some crazy characters. I think it was Camille. Some of you had some really wild anatomies and creatures. If you have, if you got the time, if you want to do a third or fourth character, go for it. You just gotta like make sure you're puppets, because I built this whole thing in like 3 hours, right? So you can get that fast. You could build a whole puppet up in a day once you guys get more comfortable. So it's gonna make the stick's gonna get harder. Don't let it pull anywhere. It should be, you want the two sides to contact each other. So more is not necessarily better. You want to have just enough to do a layer, but it shouldn't pull up at all. And it needs to be around all the edges too. So I'm just gonna open this up a little more, and the strings are kind of going. I make sure I'm going, and I scrape down off the edge, never towards the edge, because that'll leave a bead underneath it, right? Go. And so you guys can start doing this tonight. Get your foam buildup, your major forms. Now, if you want to do the anatomy, that's going to be the foam with the latex. That's going to be a little messier and take a little more time than this. So this is a fun foam buildup process, so you can get going right. See, it's a little still pooling right there. Kind of make sure it's in the grooves, make sure it's off of there. Okay, and this is becoming tacky itself, so it's a two-part adhesive. When you attach a two-part adhesive, you want to start with one corner. I'm gonna see you over there. Start with one edge like that. Press the one edge down and roll flat like that. Oops. And then press. And that is, oh, I should have used the air dryer. I'm sorry, I should have heated that up to make sure it's completely dry. But that is that strong. Isn't that cool? So I could keep building up the major forms, but he's got enough of a butt, so I'm happy with that. So now I want to attach the tail. So just like I did with the front on the snout on the video, I just carved into the foam and attached the wire with the JB Weld. If you guys are all familiar with the JB Weld. You could also put it on there, and I could sandwich it in between. I could put another piece of this over the top of it and hold those in. I could drill holes into the foam, put it in, and use the JB Weld that way. So whatever works. I think for a big form like this, I'm going to use the wire, mesh over the top of it. Over the top of the aluminum wire might be better. That way the bump of the aluminum wire won't show up when I put fabric over it. If I put this underneath the wire, then when I put fabric over it, you won't see the little bump of the ridge of the armature wire. So all these are little design decisions you can kind of make, how you kind of layer and stack your stuff up on there. So this guy's ready to go. So I think just to get this to hold on there temporarily, I even just used some crazy glue, super glue. But what I want to do is I want to mark this and put a channel in there. See if I remembered my marker. Yay. There we go. And you guys watch the friendly plastic videos yet? The teeth and claws? Nobody yet? Got a bunch of traffic. I got to make the videos private. We got a bunch of non-students in there. All right, so I'll just go like that. So a little channel, right? And then now, if we have the smaller Dremel, becomes a little more useful. It's the round one here. And I do a lot of my sculpting with the Dremel, so I love these. These are great. So there we go. And you got the adjustable speed here. I'm just making enough of a channel for the wires to fit comfortably inside the foam. Okay, make sure it's off all the way before you set it down, because if you set it down, it's still rolling. It'll take a chunk out of whatever it hits. Okay, same thing. Get the hairs out. If you have your little razor blade, or if you have your scissors handy, you can trim that off. Okay, it should be ready to go. So I'm just going to use the barges again, And I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna cut a little piece that goes over the whole thing. So I'll do that. Okay, spread it around, get it in the channels. Go past it a little bit. Got some up on there, it's okay. And it kind of, after it's dry, and if there's some that's like not used to adhere to the other side of the surface, it kind of, you can just kind of wipe it away. It's not that bad once it's hardened up. There's a more, much more toxic version of this. I got this specifically because it's not as toxic. It's not so bad. It just kind of, you don't want to get a big whiff of it when it's still wet. Okay. Put that on there. Go to the wire. And we hang that off the side here, get a little bit on my chopstick. I think I brought in like 500 chopsticks, so in case you guys aren't bringing in a bunch of coffee stirs and stir sticks yet, we got tons of chopsticks. Just a little dab on both sides. And it dries pretty fast, so you want to move quick. You put a big bead of it. Make sure you smear it all around real quick, one shot before you start doing a bunch of little areas on there. Okay, let's see. And I think I want to make sure and use the air dryer this time. Anyone see an air dryer over there? Because it is a little chilly. Yeah, thank you, sir. Let's see. Thank you. And I have like a little 3-prong outlet. And as I was saying, if anyone has an extra old hair dryer at home, if you bring like two or three of you brought a hair dryer, I have like 3 of them. And like sometimes, like I found like a really old one that no one ever uses them. My wife got all these fancy ones, so I don't mind bringing mine in. But you're gonna do this a lot. You're gonna dry your glue and you're gonna dry your liquid latex during the whole build-up process. When you put your fabric on for the skin, you're also gonna be constantly drying it. So expect to hear the dryer for the next month of the class or so. Everyone's gonna be drying and stuff. Make sure it's got no wetness, right? So that came off the. Whoop, make sure it sticks to itself really well, so just be careful. Okay, should be good to go. And voila. Once it touches, it's on there, like you can't really pull up and readjust it, so I just jabbed it real quick. I should have been really slow and like thought about where I was gonna press it in there before I did that. So, and so that's going to be good. All right, so let's add the EVA foam over the top of it. So the EVA foam is the professional stuff. This one you would use with the heat. We have heat guns in the lab up in the top left corner. There's heat guns. So you take an actual heat gun. Be really careful with your skin. It will melt your skin right off your it'll melt off your flesh. So you want to hold it away and heat this up, and that'll actually seal the foam. But for just this little piece that's no one's ever going to see, I can use it to seal over the back of it. I'm just going to take my knife here, and again, I'm going to cut some bevels. There we go. Right about there. Should be good. Looks like it's a little bit past where I put the glue on the first time. You can apply more glue, but I think it's good to put a coat on, let it dry, and then just run with what you got. And again, no one's going to see this ever, so it doesn't need to be anything super beautiful. Take the other half here. I have 5 tubes of this for you guys, so you should be good using this stuff up. So little dab, little stringies going here and there. You gotta be quick about it once it's on. Grab this. Now, if I was concerned about the weight of this, because it's coming out so good how light this critter is going to be. But if I wasn't sure, what would I add to this, do you think, before I seal it, to make sure it doesn't come off? What do you guys think would work best?
The tail part?
Yeah, what should I put in there maybe if I was concerned about making it super strong?
More glue.
Yeah, JB Weld.
Yeah.
I would use the JB Weld for that. The black stuff, right? The nasty stuff. You could also hot shot it with the super glue, but that's kind of as you've gotten used to, you can see that's kind of just to hold little stuff in place. It's not really to hold a big. See right there, it's not reaching to the edge. Right there, like you want to get those edges. So just dab a little bit more on there like that. Getting cold? You guys doing all right? Hoping it'd be a little warmer tonight. Okay, it's good to go. All right, grab, did I leave it plugged in? I did, yay, okay. For like a 20, 30 seconds, is all you're kind of cut. Then so it goes really fast. Like I do like a big costume out of this. I'll bring my Halloween costume in. For your surprise for Halloween. Some costume stuff. Love doing Halloween stuff. There's a little pool of it. Maybe I put it on too thick there. So when it's too thick, and pooling up, you just want to kind of smear it over and make sure you're not gonna, if I hit it with something that's already got glue, it's gonna pull the glue off. So that was kind of dumb. So that's why I have lots of popsicle sticks. So popsicle sticks and coffee stirrers, right? Hopefully everyone's got like a little stash they're starting to bring with them to each class. Okay, I got the bevels cut. And again, pause for a minute, make sure I'm deliberate with what I'm doing, and let's do this edge by edge. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here very carefully, put down one edge first, get it right where I want, and then roll it forward. And now give it a press. And now he's good to go. And that is shockingly strong and super lightweight. Okay, then